Hello and welcome to Authentic Traveling Podcast. I am your host, Abiosonia Ebenezer Marion. I am an investor in positive transformation through counseling, life coaching, speaking, and also writing books. Have you read my book yet? Inner Harmony, Resilience Beyond Chronic Stress and Burnout. This book is available on Amazon and also on my website, www.asebconsultancy.com. On this podcast, we talk about our mental health, emotional well-being, and also our holistic well-being in order for us to thrive authentically. This is a safe space for you to speak about soulful truth and talk about the things that will help you to come back to yourself and regain your self-awareness. Welcome to the Authentic Podcast once again. Right. On today's episode, I am with the lovely Samantha Lubanzu. I hope I pronounced your name right. I always ask my guests. Okay. Samantha, please, can you introduce yourself? Um,
Of course. So my name's Samantha Lubanzu, which you said perfectly, by the way. And I'm a career and business coach, especially for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I really help elevate women of color into senior level roles and onto boardrooms. So that's what I love to do. And my background is from
Absolutely.
HR. I've been in HR for over 20 years, and that's where it all stemmed from. But I'll wait to kind of give you more if you want it.
Okay, thank you very much, Samantha. So, I have done a podcast on waiting seasons and stuff in life.
Hmm.
And we know that waiting seasons can be, especially those waiting seasons where you do not have a date, an expiry date. When people tell you that, okay, I will see you by the end of the year, then you can know that, okay, fine, there's a particular time. It might be long, but when the time is given to you, a specific time, it kind of ease you of the patience as well. Help you to relax, knowing that you'll be counting down. And
Absolutely.
right. But when you're going through seasons where you do not know the expiry date, it can be really, really tough, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, in every aspect. It affects every aspect of your life. And I've read some of your articles, and I know that you have been through a very a stand as in a very critical seasonal seasons in your life. So I know they're different because as human beings, we'll go through different times. But I just want if you would be willing to share what as in a particular one that stand out to you
In
regarding
waiting
this.
season, oh yeah, there's definitely. I always go back to the day where when I was younger, and I realized I wasn't patient enough, and I did. They say be careful what you wish for. Well, in my case, as a Christian, it's be careful what you pray for. So I remember saying, God, help me with patience. And the biggest thing that I feel like I've had to wait for is children. So I was married for 10 years and nothing happened. We had lots of tests, everything said unexpected infertility, nothing to untoward at all, but we just wasn't having any children. And in the meantime, in the waiting room as they like to call it now,
Yeah.
in the waiting room, one of the things that I did is I just didn't put my life on hold while I was waiting for God to come through for me. So what that looked like for me was I went to go and do my studies. I went to finish my master's. I moved to London for a time so I could progress my career. I lived in France. I learned, new languages. I went on to go into my dream career and promotions after promotions. I bought my dream home. I traveled the world. I did everything that you can imagine. And I'm extremely grateful. And even everything I've done or achieved is always a testimony
Mm.
and to the glory of God. And including the home we live in, where we prayed for a nice home, and God just gave us abundantly a four-bedroom home. But we didn't have children. I had a beautiful big car, 4x4, didn't have children. And I will never forget just one day just saying, okay, now I'm ready. Like I've literally achieved everything I've ever wanted in my life. And I know that not many people have that blessing. There's always something they want. But I can honestly say at that particular point in my life, I'd have done it all.
Mm.
The only thing I didn't have is children. And I remember just saying to God, I'm ready. Like I'm just so ready now.
Mm.
And feeling the peace, knowing that if I didn't have children, will I surrender it all to God?
Mm,
I did. I
mm,
just said, regardless, Lord, I will continue to just love you. No matter your decision, your will be done. And I remember hearing in the spirit, just hearing God saying to me, your child is on its way. Um, and I'll never forget that. That was a year. And then I went for IVF. And I felt like that was the nudge from the Lord to go for IVF. I know that's very controversial to some people, but I'll explain the situation. So we
mm.
for IVF and it was successful first time round. Like they
Yeah.
said, if God builds the house, you will never labor in vain.
Yes.
First time round, we were successful. The reason why we couldn't do IVF before is because the area that we lived in didn't have the funding that we
Right.
did, and we were quite young when we got married as well. So we didn't want to pay the extortionate amount. We just wanted to believe in faith, and when the
Mm,
funding did come, there was nothing to really stop us.
yeah.
So we went for IVF first time round.
Mm,
I produced 22 eggs, 22,
wow.
which was a lot. I overstimulated, which meant that they couldn't progress with the to insert the babies in, the all babies in. So I had to have a 3 month break. So me and my husband said, let's take the opportunity to travel again. So
Mm.
we went to Canada, the west of Canada, traveled all the way around the Wild Wild West. Beautiful, stunning, absolutely stunning. If you've never been, please do go. It's the most picturesque place I've ever been to in my life.
Wow.
And we did that for 3 weeks. And then when we came back, roughly around the time we were coming back, it was time. And I was rested and relaxed,
Mm,
restful to the glory of God. And then, as you probably know, Sonia, I've gone on to have 7 children.
yes.
All of them have been natural, including twins who were born at 26 weeks. Again, another testimony for us.
Mm.
Um, and they were all natural, so we didn't have to use IVF ever again. And I must say, though, we still have 8 eggs in the freezer, in the IVF freezer. So we still have 8 more.
Whoa. Wow, wow, wow. Samantha, you've just whisked through that in less than 5 minutes. And I am going to unpick everything you've said
Of
because
course.
10 years of
10 years.
waiting. That is not 10 days, it's not 10 hours, it's not 10 seconds, it's 10 whole years of waiting. That's 24 months, 244, 240 months
You're
of
very good at
waiting.
maths.
Yes, we need to make it out there and just
Yeah,
make it look how
absolutely.
big it is, how big
Yes.
what it is God has done for you and your husband. And there was no mention of you saying you were getting frustrated, you were getting tired or anything, but you just carried on doing other things. I'm just wondering, how did you, the first year of waiting, second year of waiting, third year of waiting, as in, how did you reconcile, like, okay, I'm gonna get busy with other things? And I'm so glad that your husband also buy into that. I'm just wondering, how did you do that? We've got a baby with us. Ah, this is
For
such a
one.
blessing. This is
We've
the
got the
first
start
baby
traction.
we've had on this podcast. So what a privilege. Thank you so much for joining us, baby. So I'm just gonna please we could unpick it as in the process of waiting. How did you what was your mindset at that time?
I think because I'm a woman of faith and I feel like one of my gifting is that I just hear from God. I'm a messenger or prophet, however you want to word it, which means that I can hear God quite audibly, which helps or it doesn't, because when God tells you to wait, you just know you have to wait. But one of the things that I knew I wanted to do is, yes, I was frustrated at times. Yes, I just stopped and cried out to the Lord like you would every single period. You did the calculations, but if you do 10 times 12, that's 120, 119 where you get no. It's not this time. It's
Mm,
not this time. It's not this time. As a woman who is going to, go through her normal monthlies.
yeah.
So I still had that. But one thing that God said to me was, you will have children, but the children will come after you see everyone you know have children. So I was young when I got married. I was 24, and my friends hadn't really had children yet. I was just not really married yet. I was one of amongst the first. So to hear that, I knew that all my friends had to get married, all my friends
Mm,
had to have children. So I just started to celebrate everyone. Like anyone around me, I would encourage come on, have children, come on. Because I knew that eventually it would be my turn.
Yes.
The blessing in the midst of the storm. I
Mm,
would be the one that would be at baby showers, giving the biggest gifts, giving the biggest blessings, not because I wanted something out of it, but because I really, truly, on my genuine heart, wanted to pour into people.
mm,
And also God also made me speak to other people who were struggling to
yeah.
have children and tell them that their time was going to be next month, next year. This time
Wow.
next year you'll have children. So I felt like it was a blessing in disguise,
Mm,
some may say, and I also felt like it is a testimony in myself. I was so blessed to see um others just be blessed and the happiness that came from it.
yeah.
And just get ready for it. I served diligently in children's ministry, uh,
Mm,
worship team, and I just served from when I was 17 until the day I had my third or fourth child, and I was like, I can't do, I need a break now. But
mm,
generally, I just carried on serving, 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 and I believe that God tests your heart. It's not about what you do and the actions you
yeah.
do, but your heart condition. And my heart
Yes.
condition, went through the fire, and I was tested a lot, but I really did it with all my heart and just carried on living. Because a lot of the time, when you speak to people who are waiting, they put everything on hold.
Mm,
Um, and when you're putting things on hold, then you can live with regret, and you can, yeah, you'll have a lot of regret and a lot of what ifs. But I
mm,
didn't do that. I just carried on living and doing the things that I really aspired for,
yeah.
like, traveling, buying our home, going to go for that promotion. Because
Yeah.
before we're like, oh, should I go just in case something happens? No, I'm going for it. And if it's God's will, I'll get it. And that's one of the things that I did. And I feel like I can be, and there's a book that I always give out. It's Supernatural Childbirth. And when someone
Mm,
was wanting, I used to just have these books in my handbag. Someone was like, I'm trying for a baby. I would just give them this and say, here's my blessing to you. Read this book. Um,
mm.
I think her name is Jackie, I can't remember her name. I'll find it in a minute, Mira.
Okay.
Add it to
Okay.
the,
Yes,
add it
please.
to the bits. But that was one of the true blessing for me, as well as the movie Fighting the Giants,
Oh, wow.
and obviously the Bible.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned, thank you so much, Samantha. You mentioned something very profound. You hear from God.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, I know you're not a pastor, Samantha. A lot
No.
of people just expect that it's only the men and the women of God with the
Hmm.
title that they hear from God. And sometimes almost as if it's like a mystery. When
Hmm.
you say you hear from God, how does that come about? How did you get to that point where you know that I can hear from God? This is God talking to me.
So when I was 8 years old, one day I had a dream, and I also have dreams. But the dream that I had was that I was the secretary of God, and God was giving me messages, and I had to give these messages to people. And I remember waking up, it was really clear as day, and I said to my mum, I had a dream that I was God's secretary and I had to give all these messages out to people, and they were coming fast and thick, and I just had to keep giving them. And then my mum stops and says, "Oh, that's your gift." And I said, "What do you mean? That's my gift. You're a messenger of God." And that's the meaning of my name, actually, messenger of God. So from there, that was it. Nothing happened after that. I just knew that that was something that was my gift, but I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And I feel like after I was baptized, then things started to elevate where I could hear God more clearly, and I knew God's voice. He says I'm trying to remember the actual word where
Is
it
it
says
my sheep hear my voice?
my sheep hear my voice.
Yes.
So I just could hear. And I think I've always been able to hear, but I didn't understand the difference. And when I got baptized, there was like a cloak or a veil that was completely opened, where
Mm,
I could see clearly that God was speaking to me. And I can't explain it any other than that because it's something that's always been there for me. And I know
mm.
that from speaking to a lot of other people, it's not something that they get. And I'm going to say that it is a blessing, but it also means, like, like Jonah in the whale,
Yes.
you
Yes.
cannot not hear it. You cannot avoid it. You can run wherever you want to run, but that is still very, very clearly there. There was one time, I don't know, share this little thing where I was angry with God once, and I was like, I'm never going to listen to you again. You could tell that I was a teenager at this point because I got baptized quite early as well. About 17, 18, maybe 19, I got baptized. I was like, I'm not going to listen to you again. And I remember God, oh, I was just trying to stop the hearing of God. And I remember things flashing in front of me. God will, there'll be a car coming and it will say, Jesus loves me. Or there'll be a wall that will spray a message on. And I was just like, God will use whatever he needs to use to talk to you. So even though mine is audible, if he was to shut my ears tomorrow, there'll be another way he'll communicate with me. That means that everyone he communicates with every person in their own unique way. There's no way that he's not communicating. It's just that you need to know how he's communicating with you. That's
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah,
he's communicating. You just need to listen.
absolutely. I love the fact when you said you fell out with God. You fell out with God, like I'm not listening to you again. Stop talking to me. And then he said, "Okay, fine. I'll speak to you through your sight. You're gonna see this one.
You're gonna
You're not
still
gonna close your eyes."
You're gonna continue to see me and hear me. Yeah, there's just no way. Like I said, like Jonah and the whale, I continue to hear from God. So it has been a blessing. I have been used by God in so many ways, and I do help pastors sometimes to discern and to be able to speak to them directly. He'll just tell me, go and speak to this pastor, go and speak to that pastor, and I'll be like, oh my days, but that's the pastor. How can I go? But
You know,
usually,
yeah,
usually whenever I have a message, I'm a confirmer. So it will be, and I'm so grateful for that. And that helps me with my confidence. It will be something that they've already heard or they already know. And I'll be able to just be the encourager to say, this is just to confirm what God has already told you. So now I'm just making sure I'm just a normal person being used by God, and these are the specifics.
yeah.
What's interesting about it is my daughter, Liana, which means God has answered her my prayer, which was the firstborn child. Um, Hers is amplified. So what I have, I thank God for, but she is like next level gifted. Um, for example, in fact, her story went viral. So when she was 3, she told me that I was pregnant with the twins. And at first, her story was that she'd had a dream, very similar to me, but I was 8 when I had mine. And she said that she had a dream and that I was going to have a girl, baby girl. And I was just like, no, I'm not ready for any more children. So I just like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And every day she would say, Mummy, you're going to need a bigger car. And in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, why would I need a bigger car? Because that means I'm going from 2 to 3. We
Mm.
don't need another bigger car unless we're going from 2 to 4 or something. But I just like, ignore these little things. She would go to the childminder, and every day she'll talk about her new sister that was coming. Uh, and the childminder go, "Are you sure you're not pregnant?" I'm like, "No, I'm not pregnant." I don't know why she keeps talking about this new daughter, this new sister that's coming. She would describe her. She's gonna look like me. She's gonna wear my old clothes, my baby clothes. She's gonna be, and she would be very specific. And then one day, I missed my period, and I was like, "Oh, maybe she's right." So then I started questioning her, going, "Okay, so I'm supposed to be having a girl, right?" And she goes, "Ah, Mum, you're so silly." She actually said that. That's why I don't let her watch Peppa Pig anymore. Um,
Oh,
and she said, "You're gonna have 2 babies." And I was like, "Now you're telling me I'm gonna have two? What?" And she's like, "You're gonna have a boy and a girl." And I was like, "But why all this time you've only talked about the girl?" She said, "Because I just want a sister." So you weren't bothered about your brother. This is what you're saying. You said you're gonna have a boy and a girl. Okay. So at this time, I'm still finding it really hard to believe what she's saying. Then she started to get very specific. The baby's gonna come early. The babies are gonna come early. They're gonna come out like an explosion. She started to, and I said, okay, when is it they're gonna come? And my door is number 10. And she didn't really know her numbers very well. She knew them, but not to that level. And she went and said the same number as the door. So when I went and I said, what do they look like? He said, right now they look like black circles. And I found that very interesting for a 3-year-old to say they look like black circles. So
wow.
when they took me for the scan, and the first scan that I had, um, they turned the screen around, and the first thing I saw was 2 black circles. And they told me the date would be the 10th of July that I was due. And I was just like, what? And then they told me some bad news. They told me that one of the twins, don't worry, but the baby is no longer with us. Baby's died. The baby has not got a yolk, it's not got a heartbeat. So, but don't worry, at least you got one healthy one, the heartbeat's there. And I just said, I looked at it and I said, no, that baby's fine. And the nurse was like telling me, no, 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 no. Did you hear what I said? There's no yolk.
Hmm.
It has to be a yolk. I don't understand it. If anyone's listening in the medical, they might know better than me. There
Hmm.
has to be a heartbeat.
Yes.
There are neither of those. So it will just be absorbed. We can see there was like a sac, there was something there, but it's not there anymore. And I just said no. And you're gonna find this hard to believe, I said, but my daughter, who is only 3 years old, has told me I'm going to have a boy and a girl twins. And she told me that I'm pregnant right now. She's given me very specifics about them growing up. She told me the boy was going to have big feet and be very tall. She said the girl was going to look like her. She told me they're due on the 10th, which you've just told me. Now, and she also told me that she's getting all her messages from God. Now, why would God lie to her? Now, at
Hmm.
this point, this nurse looked at me like I was crazy. And I was just like, God won't lie to a 3-year-old. I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. I said, what's the process for checking again? She goes, well, you can come back in 2 weeks. But as I said, there's no yolk, there's no heartbeat. And I just went, okay, I'll come back in 2 weeks then, shall I? And obviously, clearly, she was like rolling her eyes at this point, going,
Yes.
another one of them probably. And, and I just remember we left, and I remember going, right, okay, we're gonna just fast and we're gonna pray. I didn't fast, but the people around me, my church was praying, everyone was praying that when we got back in 2 weeks, that these babies were gonna be healthy, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was questioning my daughter more and more, like tell me what they're going to look like when they grow up. And it was kind of encouraging me. She would tell me very specifics about them. Like one, my son was going to like ball, playing ball games. My daughter is going to just very specific stuff. And it encouraged me. So when I did go back after the 2 week time,
Yeah.
and they did the scan, and we just were standing in faith. Me and my husband were standing in faith because she had started the conversation. God had already showed us. And when we went to the scan, they just turned it around and go, oh yeah, two healthy heartbeats. And I remember I was so happy. You know what I was so happy about? It was the same nurse that saw me the second time. And I was just so glory to
Whoa.
grateful. Because in Manchester, St. Mary's is massive. The chances of seeing the same person is slim to nil. So I was so
Oh my
grateful to be able to
word.
go back to say, well, I did tell you that my daughter had already foreseen this. Anyway, the story is viral. If you go and put 3-year-old predicts twins, the story went all over the world because it was during 2020 COVID. The twins were born early, although we didn't share that
Yes.
with people. We just believed, we just prayed and just hoped that that would not be the case. But unfortunately, it was. They were born at 27 weeks.
Hello there. I just want to ask you a favor to subscribe, like, and share to your friends, your neighbor, your colleagues, your family, your friends, and everybody that you know. I'm really working hard to ensure that I bring useful and valuable information that will help you with your mental and emotional well-being so that you begin to thrive authentically. You know, a lot of us will feel we have to wait until something happens before we become reactive. But with this podcast, I am trying to give you information that will make you proactive so you don't even have anything to react to in the end because you are looking after yourself properly. So what are you waiting for? If you have been listening, please like, share, comment on anything that resonates with you. This will help to drive our visibility. And also, if there is any other topic that we have discussed that has been a trigger or that you feel you need support with, please visit www.asebconsultancy.com. There is a 15 minutes free consultation link that you can click on right there and book to speak to one of our counselors. Thank you so much for helping to drive visibility to this platform. And also, if you have been listening on Apple, Spotify, Audible, and every other um, podcast platform there, please follow us and keep sharing. Thank you so much. Back to the program now.
Um, so they basically came and they said, right, we're going to give you 30 minutes. If this baby is not out in 30 minutes,
Yeah.
we are going to have to cut you and take the baby out by force. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, 30 minutes. Okay, let's do it. So they gave me the drugs to, I can't remember what the drugs are called,
The anesthetics.
to restart labor because when you
Yeah.
have twins, it slows. Within the 30 minutes, I to the second, I'd pushed him out, and he came out like an explosion. The doctor, because it was a doctor that delivers babies, the doctor got soaking wet. She was like, "I'm soaking," like it was like an explosion, and I was just like,
Wow.
"Wow!" And they both got risked to intensive care.
Yeah.
Um, long and short of the story, they were there for 61 days and they came out and they're healthy. They're five and they're thriving. I
Wow. Wow, Samantha, this your story is just amazing. The work of God. I love the fact that God, when you hold on to faith, God has a way of confirming his word. Of all the nurses to see you, it was this nurse again. And it just kind of reminded me of my experience when a particular doctor was trying to convince me that my placenta was not placed right. So on the day of delivery, I might need an operation and all of this stuff. And she was drawing it because I wouldn't agree with her. And she was drawing it, and I just kept telling her that when God bless, he had no sorrow. When God bless, he had no sorrow. And then he was telling my husband, can you speak to your wife? I said, you don't need anybody to convince me. I know that when God bless, he had no sorrow. And she just get really fed up of me. When you said the nurse was rolling her eyes as one of these Jesus fanatics, I could relate with that because that's the way she was behaving. And then at the point she was like, stop. I know you are a woman of faith, but you need to listen to me now. And I was saying to her that, but when God bless you, I had no sorrow. So I am going to do everything that you want me to do. But I'm not going to buy in into your report. So on the day that I gave birth, what happened was that of all the doctors to come in to do ward runs, it was this same doctor that came back in. And then I closed my eyes and then she said, hello, congratulations. Do you know who is this? I said, I know who you are. I called her name and she was just laughing. And then the next thing I said, I told you my God would do it. And she started laughing. So it's
oh
just,
my
I don't know who is out there that
God.
your faith right now might be waning and you want to just give up. This is a message from me and Samantha because we've not even discussed this prior to this discussion about the wonderful way that God will show up for you. All you need is faith. And if you've ever seen a mustard seed, you will know that a mustard seed is so tiny that even if you put it on your palm, the mustard seed can just disappear into the palm of your hand, right? And then imagine when you put it in a cotton wool and add water to it, it grows really fast. So God said if you have just a faith as small as the mustard seed is enough. So if you are in your waiting season, whether it be as a result of children, maybe job, maybe just business, anything in your life, I'm just trying to use this means to tell you that God said is with you. You just need that faith as tiny as a mustard seed. Samantha, that is just, I don't even know how else to unpick this your it's not this is not a discussion anymore, it's a testimony on how
He is.
when God give you a gift, when he give you a gift, it doesn't look at who are you or the number of age you or your age or whatever. He just give it to you and he give it to you freely. In that 10 years, I just want to quickly ask something. Did you have any pregnancy at all, any miscarriage or anything in that 10 years?
Yeah,
Any
so I had three miscarriages, but very early
miscarriages?
on. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so I did have three miscarriages, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. I know that would not be easy for you as well because that's another, really, really difficult and challenging time for you to process all of that stuff. And there was something that you said you did. You did not wait and just be rotting away because what you wanted so much is not there. You carry on living and not just living, you were thriving because then you were pursuing other things, traveling with your husband, having a very good and understanding partner in when your waiting season is very, very good. And it seems like you have a good support system when we're talking about people praying for you and waiting with you in the church as well. So if you're in your waiting season, you need a great support system to also stand in the gap for you. You need someone that is in your carcass, inner circle, your husband, your good friend that will be able to share things with. You need to also talk to them as much as you trust them. And then you also said something about, pursuing that career and doing the traveling. So you were living and you were thriving as you're waiting in that season, and you were not being bitter because you said you were celebrating other people. Do you know how hard that can be for some people, Samantha? Where people, because what they want, other people have it, they can't get it. That can lead to a sense of depression, a sense of pain, a sense of regret. Like, God, why me? How come you're giving other people, not me? But in your own case, you were celebrating with them until it was your turn for them to also celebrate.
Yeah.
That is
I
hard.
think it's really important, and I think that's for everything that you're doing in life. Always celebrate. There's always going to be your turn,
Yeah.
and then when it's your turn, you'll be celebrated. So always celebrate. I always think celebrate people, you know, always celebrate people for whatever they're achieving and genuinely celebrating them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That-
and look what the Lord has done.
I
He
know now you've got your
measure.
bands full. Yeah.
There they are, good measure shaken together, and he says he'll give it running over. And one thing that I've thank you for your patience with my children.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
no, 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 no. We are talking about waiting.
I know.
What you've been waiting for, they are all around you now. This is your evidence.
Yeah, this is
This
so
is your evidence and a testimony that God can be trusted,
you can
that
be
God can be
trustful.
trusted, and it will definitely bring to you what you've been waiting for. So you've got nothing to apologize. You've got
Yeah,
nothing to
God will do
apologize.
it. And just in everything in life, just use that same, you did it. Yeah. Just use
Yeah.
that same, the same theory that continue to just celebrate and pour in. One thing I would recommend anyone who's listening is if there's an area of your life where you are personally struggling, pour into that person or those people. So if you're struggling in your marriage, go and pour into those marriages that you see that you think are because sometimes behind closed doors you don't know what's going on. But go and
Yes.
pour into that marriage. Go and give them a blessing on their 20th anniversary. Go and pour in if you're waiting for a child. Go into those baby showers. Go and be a big giver. Go and pour in. Go and buy a Moses basket or whatever it may be. Pour into people. If you're waiting for that job, then go and the people who you're waiting for, go and celebrate the people who have already gone before you promoted that they've been promoted. Go and celebrate. Take them out for something to eat to celebrate them. Just celebrate other people and just pour into those people in whichever way. And again, you talk about gifts. I know that everyone has their gift, so use your gift. For me, I am just a natural giver, so I will give. But guess what? If you give, you'll also one day in the right time receive this natural order of things. So pour into people, give, celebrate, and you will be celebrated. God is not, I don't know what's just happened there, but
No,
God is,
it's just AI.
and saying God is not a man that he will ever lie. Whatever he said he will do, he will surely do.
Yes.
Surely do.
Yes.
God is
Yes.
big. Is God small or big? Small. God is big.
We've
Big.
got a contributor
Big.
to the podcast. God
Big.
is big indeed. God is big indeed. I like the way you've summarized that and you brought that together. Brought everything together. When I was coming down, I just finished from somewhere when I was coming for this podcast. And I was just thinking, this podcast is about waiting. And I was trying to go through my questions again. But in the end, I just said, God, just take control of how you want this podcast to be today. This is not a normal podcast. This is not the normal way that I do my things in my podcast, to be honest. And I know, God, this is for you. I know that somebody definitely needed this podcast, and God wanted it to be like that. I don't know what you're waiting for. Samantha may not know what you're waiting for. If you are finding it difficult to be around those that have what you want, remember, she said, pour into them. What you do not celebrate, you are telling God that you do not deserve it and you do not want it. What you celebrate will come back to you in double measures. And also, support system. Don't do life alone by yourself. It doesn't matter. Just go. Because there are some people, when they see other people doing exactly what they're doing, it's almost as if they become your arch enemy. They are not your enemy, they are your allies. They are good for you to support. They will support you, collaborate with them, and just move with God's speed. Be patient as well and keep living while what you are waiting for become your testimony and a celebration. Samantha, I don't even know what else to say, but I just know God has moved and He has done what He wanted to do in these sessions. In these sessions. Just one final question before you go, because I feel like maybe at some point I might bring you back for something else. This is just a tip of the iceberg. Like you said, God give people different gifts. If you do not hear from God, it doesn't mean that God is not speaking to you. If you, there are some people, it might be dream, it might be imprint. For me, I just have this imprint, or like Samantha said, different ways. I am asking God in my closet, and then I'm speaking to people. They are speaking as if they are answering what I asked God in the closet. And I'm thinking, what is this all about? That is what I asked God for. And someone else is just pouring out the answers. I'm like, oh God, you're at it again. You have a good sense of humor. It might be that as well. Listen, pay attention. When you ask, you need to pay attention. And then someone else will just be giving you the answer, which is sick. Someone sent me the intercessory book from Kenneth Hagins 2 days ago. I don't understand it. It's almost as if the person knew I needed that material this time. And then when I asked him, please, can you explain the reason you sent me this material? I really appreciated it. And then he sent me about 5 lines of the reasons why he sent that to me. You won't believe it, Samantha. About 4 key words that are personal between me and God were in those answers that he gave. Four.
Wow.
4 key words.
Wow, that's amazing.
Four.
Incredible.
And
God.
then as I read it, I was like, okay, I hear you, God. Thank you. You are it again. So it might not be the way Samantha hear the voice, or it might be an imprint. It might be when you're reading the Bible, and then that just resonates with you. Then you can hold on to it. It might be through people. It might be when you have a dream. It might be different way. But just know your gift and know that God is not silent. He speaks even when in that silence He speaks. You just need to pay attention. You're muted.
I was going to say, you talked about silence as well, just at the end. So I just wanted to say that because God said, be still and know that I am God. So when you are trying to hear from God and you're like, well, how I can't hear anything, because I've had people say to me, but I can't hear anything at all. For what is God actually telling me? I don't know what to do. And it just reminded me to be still and know that I am God. So you just need to stop in order to hear sometimes as well. Just stop, be silent, and let God speak to you in the way that He is going to speak. And that's it. Just be still. Don't expect anything and just wait.
Wow. In this podcast, Samantha, we normally ask people what are the way that they replenish themselves in order for their mental and emotional well-being, because especially with you having so many children now, that's a lot. That is a lot, right? I know you have support from family and stuff, but how do you remain? Because I know you're a career woman. I have to bring you back on that career part again to come and speak on that, because she's a lady that wears so many hats. Introduction was very modest, so I'll have to bring her at some point, I don't know when, to come and speak again. What are the things that you do to ensure that your stress bucket doesn't run over and you get overwhelmed or burnout? What are the things that you do to ensure that you authentically thrive?
So definitely one of the it's very, very easy to get burnout. So I'm a big advocate of self-care. So one of the things that I did this year, which I absolutely loved, I'm so glad I started, is called it's something I just kind of coined myself. It might exist, I don't know. I had this feeling that I should do it, called self-love in a jar. So I just had all these different ideas of the things I wanted to do for myself. And I put it in a jar, and every month, just like a little post-it note. I'm gonna try and see if I can find just like a little jar. I don't know if it'll show you this, just like a little jar of, and you
Yeah.
just put it in, and then each month you just take one out and do whatever it says on that. So the first month was to go and date myself, which I've never done before. And
Yeah.
dating myself, I'd never done it before. I've realized that. So I went out and took myself for a meal for two. I was pregnant at this time, so just bear with me. I was pregnant, and I enjoyed that meal for two. I literally said, "Bring it all." I then went to the movies on my own. Again, it's something that I hadn't really been able to join for a long time, but I haven't been to the movies on my own. I walked myself to the movies, so I held my own hand. Uh, and then I did a bubble bath at the end, and yes. Um, so that was quite nice. And then the next month was I went on a women's retreat. Well done. So I went on a woman's retreat. Then the
Yeah.
following month, I just went and I'd given birth by that point.
Yeah.
So my mum said, I look after baby, go and do something for yourself. I went and just did, oh, you're gonna hear all sorts now. I went to go and get my nails done and my feet done and just a little massage.
Yeah.
Every month I'm doing something. Then last April was a hike with one of my friends. I actually didn't do it on my own. I went on a hike. Then last month, which was May, what did I do in May? I can't even remember. But this month, it's meant to be. I'm going to go and do like sip and paint something to
Oh, yeah.
think, or even going to pick up my clarinet so I can play the clarinet. And I haven't done it in like 20 years. And it's been looking at me, and I'm like, oh, I could just sit there one day and just play around with it. And that could be that month, just creatively expressing myself in a different form. So it could be writing, it could be painting. So I think I might do that one where I just start playing again because I really want to start playing again. So
Yeah.
these are the things that I do, but I also go to the gym. I've
Mm.
just started the gym in May. Oh, that's what I did in May. I started the gym. I was wondering, what did I do? So I started the gym in May. I go 3 times a week. I wake up at 5 a.m. to go because I have to get back for the
Mm.
school run. I do a 6 a.m. class or I do a PT. And then I get home to take my children to school. So then my husband is very, very patient. So he will help me get the kids ready so I can go to the gym, come back, they're ready, and I will walk them to the school. And then vice
Yeah.
versa, when he's working, I'll do the bits of getting them ready and then he'll take them to school. So we kind of do what we can. And he started going gym again now. So I've invited him. So when you see us, we're going to be looking at the Incredible Hulk. But that's mainly the things that I try to do. I try to pour into myself so I can pour out to my children, to my
Yeah.
clients, to to my community, my friends, everything. I can't do it unless I look after me. So I'm a big advocate of people just looking after themselves. And I'm also a big advocate. I've got 7 children. I take the time out for them. I drop them to school. I pick them up, and I make sure that my times are very, very quite strict. So I have boundaries of work. I pick them up, I make them dinner. They see me. I'm visual, and then I will do client work again when they're going to after they go to bed. So I make sure that their time is their time. I'm mum. When I'm at work, I'm at work. But when I'm for me, I do me. So and when I'm a wife, I'm a wife. So just making sure that there's very clear boundaries between the two. Otherwise, you forget yourself and who you are.
Yes. Yes.
So I've made a very big point of not doing that, especially as a mum of 7. So and they're very well looked after and really cared for, and I'm grateful because God has
Yeah.
been, Lord God provider, you know,
Mm.
Ira. So I'm very, very grateful. I know that not everyone has what I have,
Yeah.
and hence why I do what I do, pouring
Yeah.
back into people and helping them elevate their careers so that they can be in a position that I'm in.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Can you
You.
just touch on a bit? How do you do it? Like, that's quite a lot. What I see there is that you understand the different roles that you are, that you and the responsibility, and you intentionally look after yourself in each of those roles, which is why you're able to show up, right? Which is why
Yeah.
you're able to show up. Can you just speak briefly as to what you do regards the career stuff, in case anybody is interested? This is a
Yeah,
woman
sure.
that you should get in touch with in terms of your career elevation.
So, because of my HR background, and because even though I said that I have gone in and gone into all these different promotions, what I didn't say is that I actually faced a lot of racism, microaggression, sexism, you name it, I faced it. It was a tough journey and a very competitive one to get where I got to. And when I got to where I got to, I still looked around and there wasn't anyone that looked like me. So it wasn't satisfying to me at the end because there are people who were still in the same positions they've been in for 20 years that look like me.
Mm.
And I wasn't happy with that. So when I felt God telling me that it was time to leave, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I've just got here. I'm finally made it. And now he's telling me to leave. What? But God has a way of doing things, doesn't he? So
Yes.
what that meant is that I understand what people have experienced in the workplace, and it's not fun. It's all the masking that they do. It's exhausting, the burnout. They're trying to get the promotion, trying to move on, and nothing quite happens.
Mm.
So I've been through it personally, but I also have helped, if not thousands by now, leaders to progress in their careers to the highest level. I've worked, at the highest levels. So what I do now is I've got my career accelerator program, which helps individuals to accelerate really quickly. I'm very proud of it because every single person moves on into their dream career within usually straight after my career program. Some during my career program moves into their dream career. And I'm very much big about not just having a career, not just a job, a career, but it's you're also having an amazing life as well and happiness because you need to have both. So
Yeah.
that's what I do. I do have a free gift actually. I'll share it on here, a link, which is of my free masterclass, which is called the Career Breakthrough Formula Masterclass. It's absolutely free, and I'll send you the link to put into the subheading
Description. Yes.
subscription. So look out for that. It's just literally you click on it, you grab it, and it's on demand to watch it. And it's going to help you to how to be authentically you and be able to elevate yourself in your career and have a breakthrough that you've been wanting. So definitely grab that. Um, I literally just launched it recently, and the feedback has been astronomical. I'm so proud of it. So please do grab it. Like I said, I love pouring into people. So grab that, have that for yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Samantha. You are still giving, even on the podcast, she is still giving. So make sure, on behalf of myself and the audience, I'm just going to say thank you very much, Samantha. Even though you've got your hands full there, you still created time to come and speak to
Yeah.
us on Authentic Thriving Podcast today. We do not take this for granted. So thank you so much and keep being your amazing self. And if you are listening to this for the first time or you've listened several times, but you've not done us a favor, please just click on like and you can share with friends and family. And also you can share on your status, on your social media, on your WhatsApp and things like that. And also comment what stood out for you in this. I'm calling it a very, very blessed podcast. What stood out for you on this episode today? Write it there. If you've got any question for Samantha, please share and I will ensure that she gets it. And the link as well, make sure you do well with it and do something very, very nice. And
Yeah.
elevate yourself as a career woman or whichever capacity that you are in. My name is Abia Sonia and I remain your host on Authentic Driving Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And for now, bye for now.